I didn't know if I would ever see my family again. And that was when things were just all black. And that's very, very rare for me because I can usually see hope in anything.
Journalist Cheng Lei has had a storied career, presenting news and current affairs in Australia and Asia. Chinese-born and Australian-raised, today Cheng Lei is a news presenter on News 24. She's happy and healthy, living in Melbourne with her 2 teenage children. But just a few years ago, Lei was in prison in China, a 3-year nightmare of wrongful detainment, charged with illegally supplying state secrets to foreign organisations. Now, at the time, Lei was the highly respected anchor of a global business show, but that didn't protect her when she went to work one morning and quite simply disappeared. On this episode of Frances Whiting's Humankind, you'll hear Lei's story of resilience and survival and how important it is to hold on to your humanity in the most inhumane of circumstances. And just a warning, this episode does contain references to sexual assault. This is Frances Whiting's Humankind, a new limited series from the Courier Mail and the Sunday Mail. Let's go back to that day when you are called into your work for what you think, it's a day off, but you're called in for what you think is a meeting.
Yeah, and an exciting one at that.
Yes, possible promotion.
Yeah.
Lei, can you take me back to that day?
I just was in pain because I had infection and so on. So I went back to sleep after taking some pills. Then when I wake up, my phone is full of messages and even a voice message from my direct supervisor. And everyone sounds like it's super urgent. So I quickly get ready to go out. And instead of the usual walking, I take a cab. And I'm thinking about how I'm going to get this show, this pilot, into actual show phase. And the biggest shock of my life, I guess, is when I push open that door, thinking it's just going to be director fun there. And instead, it's all these people who look at me like I've done something wrong. Then the next part is even worse because this man, because they're in plain clothes, the officers, and he shows from some meters away some badge and says, the Beijing Municipal Bureau of State Security is investigating you for basically leaking state secrets to overseas entities. And then my bag and phone were taken away and all I could do was comply.
In the shock of that moment, did it seem almost surreal, as in didn't quite believe it was happening?
Well, I think in my life I've seen lots of experienced lots of surreal things and twists and turns.
Yes.
So I think my first response is almost always calm.
Yes.
And trying to think,
what is the best way to handle this, the next step?
Yeah. I've never been the type to freak out and start shouting or ranting or swearing and all that.
They take you to your apartment?
Yes.
Tell me about that journey.
So these fancy Beamers, and we go to the underground garage and they meet the building manager. So I know it's all pre-planned. And we go up to and I'm being filmed while going up to my apartment. And from then on, I have effectively I had lost my freedom from the moment I pushed that office. Yeah. But to the extent that when I went to the toilet, there were 2 female officers shadowing me and guarding me at all times in my own place and going through my underwear. And just the funny thing was how they knew where to hone in on.
What do you mean, Lei?
Well, it was a 3-bedroom apartment with a dining and living and kitchen, but they just went to my room and went through my papers.
I see what you're saying. Like they knew what they were looking for and where to find these documents that would apparently maybe damning.
Yeah, and electronics. Yeah.
You were still, as far as I can tell, at that point you were still quite confident, even asking things like, should I grab some toiletries? Because you're not thinking
no
way
way
for a long time.
No way. No.
What were you thinking was going to happen?
I thought I was going to explain whatever confusion this was, and I would be coming home very soon.
You're blindfolded?
Yes, for the ride to the detention facility in the middle of the back seat with the 2 officers flanking me.
I just can't imagine that moment. You don't have your phone. No one knows where you are. You're blindfolded. There's a moment you describe in the book that I did have a little cry when you said that just before you went into the, I think it was the Minister of State Security Detention Centre, you felt the sun on your face and you didn't know.
I didn't know how precious that was.
No. They say they're going to take you to a into residential surveillance at a designated centre.
Location.
Yeah, location, designated. Okay. It doesn't sound like a prison, does it?
That's the really sneaky thing about China, because whenever I explain that acronym, people say, oh, house arrest. I say, hell no. I say, fuck no. I say, it's hell. And people say, why? Because you're only being investigated.
Very benign, doesn't it?
Yeah. And also in the Western judicial process, it's an ascending order of pain, as in jail being the final destination, being the most painful, and detention the less. And then initially, it's wherever you're held is likely to be closer to your home. In China, it's the exact opposite. You go through hell so you confess and sign whatever it is to move on. And then detention is the holding center, what I call the meat cooler. And then you actually go to a much better place where you meet more people, where you see the sky and the sun. And
the reverse process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could you describe, Lei, for me, hell? Let's go into your cell. What was that like?
Going into the cell is fine. It's the having to sit there 13 hours a day and having to sit properly. Because when you think about solitary, you think about some poor prisoner in a dungeon, for example.
With no light.
No lights. But at least he could talk to himself. At least he could throw up his hands and swear.
Stand up.
Yeah, and stand up, or maybe if he's chained. But he doesn't have anyone staring at him 24/7. And everyone who has tried that distance at which they stand and sit says it's deeply upsetting and unnerving because it is way beyond our understanding of personal space. And that's what it tries to do, to strip you of your identity, to make you feel helpless, to drum it into you that you have no escape. It's not just the cameras looking at you, it's 2 live people.
On either side.
Yeah, looking at you all the time, when you sleep, when you sit on the toilet, when you shower.
That's 14 hours a day.
Yeah, their rationale is, how do you think you're going to get away with anything? Least of all harming yourself or harming somebody else.
You're not allowed to really move, are you? You have to ask permission?
This is another feature of RSDL.
Yes.
It's tailored according to your level of cooperation, your level of self-awareness, as in, do you know how little you are? Do you know how much shit you're in? Do you know how strong the state is? And if you answer yes to those accounts, then maybe they'll give you a little bit more leeway. And it's about breaking you. If they think they've got most of what they need out of you, then they can relax it a little. And if they think you're really going crazy, especially if you're a foreigner, then again, they can relax it a little. But the Australian government's petitioning and lobbying helped a lot. So I got things like a support top, dental floss, albeit, torn into little strips each mealtime. And when I asked for it, I could get a little bit more exercise time, which consists of standing between the two guards and walking the 1.5 meters to the window and back. And
how long were you allowed to do that for?
10 minutes at a stretch for every few hours.
What struck me with your book is that these guards, you've got in a very strange way, it's a very intimate relationship.
Yeah. They see your nakedness. They see you crying. They smell you. You smell each other.
Yes. And yet they have to remain completely impassive.
Again, that changes because at the start they have to show you who's boss, and they try to ascertain that you will obey. You won't make trouble. And after a while, they think you're safe. And also, after a while, I think most people just become conditioned to being that complying person, and then they can be a bit more relaxed, meaning they can whisper something to you.
Did you ever feel that they had compassion for you or vice versa?
Oh, I think there's a Chinese saying that our hearts are all made of the same material. If you show empathy, you will get kindness back. Mm-hmm. And that was very moving, that even though they were watching me and I was the captive, that we could still be nice to each other.
I was struck thinking when you were sitting there for your 14 hours, I can't even imagine. No one can imagine unless they've been in the situation you were in. Your coping mechanisms. Where did you go? How did you escape? And there's a lovely passage in your book when you say, I'm not pacing between two guards in a cell with my guts in a knot. I'm on a beach going for an after-dinner stroll. Concentrate on visualising the sea, blue and vicious in the evening light. Ava doing cartwheels, Alex dragging a stick around. It's a beautiful passage, you and Nick holding hands.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you would use your very sharp mind and imagination to help you stay sane.
I think that's actually a habit from, I've had some unhappy episodes in my life. I always used to collect these, I call them pebbles of contentment. So when I'm having I'm sitting in some dappled courtyard, I'm having a drink with friends and there's bird song and I can smell flowers, I will take a mind picture of that and hold it. And when the going gets tough, then I will think back to that and know that I can be there again. I just have to ride this one out.
So you're like a squirrel.
Yeah.
Storing away these little grains of beauty.
Yeah.
In the book, Lei, you do talk about a very traumatic thing that happens to you, and it's a home invasion, really.
Yes.
Can you take me back to that night when you were 17?
19.
Pardon me, 19.
Yeah. So the summer of 94 in Brisbane, my mum forgot to lock the back door, and this guy was just cruising the neighbourhood, checking all the doors, and he got lucky and he appeared at my bedroom door holding a lighter to light up his face. And immediately I thought, don't kill me, don't rape me, I will do whatever, because he said he had a knife and he would kill me. So he basically put his arm around my neck in a stranglehold position and asked me where my parents kept money. I thought taking him to the garage might alert the dogs and scare him away. And I took him to Dad's study where there were some electronics and a little bit of money in Dad's wallet. And I didn't want to take him to my parents' room because I thought my dad had said he had a shotgun hidden somewhere. And I just had this idea that it would be much worse.
Would escalate.
Yes. So I thought I could just keep him calm and all this will be over. But then he took me back to my bedroom and raped me in my bed. And by then I screamed, but my bedroom, the door being closed, and also there's a little bit of distance to my parents' room, so they didn't hear. Afterwards, Dad, as soon as he ran out, I ran to my parents' room, and my dad ran into the backyard, but he was nowhere to be seen. So my dad tried to call 000, but he was incoherent. So I took over the phone and then went to give an account of what happened at the police station by myself. I still remember the tall detective, and I do hope, because I've Googled him.
Have you?
Yeah, of course he's retired, but I saw a photo of him and I really hope I could see him again just to thank him, because one thing that's helped me, not just with that, but with this ordeal, is the ability to think of kind people, and that fills up the space. So the negative feelings, the fear and sadness, the bad stuff doesn't get crowded out.
You know that in the midst of that bad stuff, there's so much good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just as a 19-year-old, your sense of calm, even thinking I'm not going to go into mum and dad's bedroom because there's a shotgun or a gun in there, and it might, and you're giving the account to this lovely police person. I don't know. I've not met anyone that's gone through quite as much trauma as you have in it, and is still upright and is still. The beautiful thing about you, Lei, is that you have gone through all of this, and everyone I've spoken to about you talks about how much love you have and hold.
Well, I'm lucky. Yeah. I do get a lot of love, and I think I'm just really capable of feeling love.
Yeah. I think it's wonderful that you still have so much to give and so much to receive.
Yeah. Well, the more you give, the more you receive.
Yes, that's right. You've already answered the question. I was going to ask you, what are specifics that kept you going, but I love that, remembering there are kind people.
Yeah.
This is not the whole world.
No.
Let's talk about some of the people who did help you while you were in there, working behind the scenes, because when you went, you literally just kind of vanished off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
For your boyfriend, for your colleagues. So tell me about how that network swung into let's help her, and then I guess the role of the embassy, government, eventually.
Mm-hmm. After a change.
So when did you realise, Lei, that you were not in there by yourself, that there were people who had worked out, okay, something has definitely gone horribly wrong and we're going to start agitating?
Well, I couldn't contact anyone for years. So a lot of what I know now I had to piece together after I was released. But even sitting there at my side of the bed 14 hours a day, I kept thinking that when I was arrested, we had broken up, but I knew he was still my best friend.
Yes.
And I knew he would know something was wrong, and he knew the code to my apartment, so he would figure it out. I was very prepared for everyone around me to run for the hills, because the Ministry of State Security is such...
long tentacles.
Not just long tentacles, but it's just so murky, and people might think that I was really a spy. And I wouldn't blame them if I had this Ministry of State Security rap hanging over me. So when people did drop me and when people avoid me now, I'm not offended. But then the people who stuck around, who fought for me, who spoke up for me, I'm just so grateful and feel so lucky. And that motivates me to help people and to live life fully every day.
Let's move on to brighter days. Some of your comforts. Let's talk about the comforts of letters.
Oh, yes.
You eventually allowed your consular visits.
Yes,
I think it's 30 minutes once a month.
that's right.
And in that there would be an exchange of letters. Or you would receive letters?
Not at the visit.
Oh, okay.
The visits were mostly by video link, which is so gratuitously cruel.
So cruel.
Yeah, because they were there in the other room and everyone's wearing masks and they had to do multiple COVID tests to come to the detention centre, and yet you had to be by video link.
But would they deliver the letters? I may have got that.
They would deliver the letters, but it would go through at least 2 weeks in review.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I would always get them in the cell. But we would also dictate messages
Yes.
via the embassy officials. And I would always think, I wish I was the one transcribing because I'm really fast and accurate.
Like, I can do this much faster. So,
But time was so precious. Even if I thought they didn't have it right, I didn't want to repeat myself because you just had so much to get through and so little time. And there was a translator there always
yes.
writing down everything to report to the judge or the prosecutor or the officers. And there would often be interjections. Can't talk about this. Yeah.
And books?
Books saved my life, and I still can't go to a library without tearing up. And when people say they don't read, or I just think you're missing so much.
Well, and very much so, I should imagine, in this particular case, they are an escape.
Yeah,
Can take you out of there.
exactly. I saw a New Yorker cartoon where one guy is trying to break out of jail, like moving the bricks around, and another, his cellmate is sitting on the bed reading a book and says, "This is my escape."
Or you could do this.
Yeah.
How many books do you think you read?
More than 300.
Gosh.
And books that I never thought I would read, like, the complete history of interest rates.
Yeah.
Oh, that was all I had.
You were desperate, clearly.
Yes.
After 5 months, I think.
6.
6 months.
Yeah.
So the maximum in this
RSDL
is 6 months.
Yeah.
Eventually you're handed over
Yes.
to Central Command.
Oh, right. Yeah, that. Yeah. So I'm still in the same
you're still in
place,
the same place.
but then with tougher conditions.
Yeah. So when you go to the next place,
To detention.
which is geographically very close.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand. Yes.
It's the same compound,
Yes.
but linked through an underground walkway.
And what is that called, the second one?
The detention centre.
Just this. Okay, plain. So what's the difference between the two? Immediately, what do you notice is very different?
Cellmates.
Yes.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would take the worst conditions of a cell in exchange for cellmates.
Human contact.
Yes. It just makes life so much better. It really helps with your sanity.
Tell me about your cellmates, the girls you're in with. That's Canto.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about them?
At first, everyone is still a little bit wary because you're always told that there may be snitches and the cell has surveillance devices and how some people have been tricked in the past to go back on their confessions and then get harsher sentences. So they feed you this in order for you to not trust and not foster meaningful relationships. But I'm a very open and trusting person, so I figured I'm already here. What have I got to lose? Mm-hmm. So I would just tell people about myself and find out what brought them there and their personalities. And as a journalist, as you know, you try to read the room, try to suss out the interpersonal dynamics. Yeah. And as a new arrival, to show that I'm not going to usurp on anyone's territory and I'm going to play by your rules to be liked.
It's
Three others.
Three other women.
Yeah.
And I love the interplay within you. You have moments of great lightness together and very girly things too, which I loved.
Yeah.
How much did that mean to you, just being able to do girly stuff and have girly conversations?
You're stripped of your gender, essentially.
Yes.
And we're all women. We're all wives and girlfriends and mothers. And suddenly we're in this totally genderless world. We aren't allowed any feminine clothing, no bras. It's just men's slippers and sleeping on hard beds, getting calluses on our bums. We used to talk about, does moisturizer help with the callus? And after, after our pirate washes, we'd be trying to moisturize our bums, but it doesn't help. It's if you're sitting on a hard, it's if you're sitting on a hard surface.
Yeah.
But then after I was released, it went away.
That's good to know too. But again, the four of you, it's another very intimate relationship.
Yeah.
You're showering, you have your menstrual cycles, there's bodily functions.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm assuming
there is no privacy whatsoever.
No privacy whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I think that as women, I guess, did any sort of sense of embarrassment or just go?
For me, no.
No, okay.
Which is I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
But for one cellmate in particular, she found it terribly difficult, whether it was being strip searched at the raids or having to shower with the shower cam looking directly into this glass cubicle. She, to the day that I left, still showered with her shirt on. And
that's her protection.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you specifically, Lei, about dignity. It seems to me that at every turn, this system is designed to rob you of dignity, rob you of self-worth, rob you of hope. What does that do to a person to have all those things systematically taken away? And as strong as you are and as calm as you are, were there moments when you really did think, I'm done, I can't keep doing this?
Well, my lowest point was in RSDL because I didn't know if I would ever see my family again. And that was when things were just all black. And that's very, very rare for me because I can usually see hope in anything. But after that, I just started to develop coping mechanism after coping mechanism. And right now, if this happened to me again or even worse things happened to me, I think I'd be better equipped. I think it can go either one of two ways. I saw in some cellmates they just got weaker and weaker. And for me, being stripped of everything that was outward made me find strength within and who I really am. And I'm okay with hair grey and, take away my clothes, take away my titles. I still know I can be creative and kind. I can still make people laugh. I can teach people things and I can still learn and I can still live.
You mentioned hope. So let's talk about your first glimmers of hope when you were there. Finally, you're actually given what you actually have been charged with. You're told by lawyers what they think the pleas should be, and you are sentenced. I'm kind of rushing ahead of it now. How much hope did you hold in your heart before you actually walked into the room and the judge smiles at you? What did you think was going to happen compared to what actually did happen?
I thought I would be sentenced to 5 years, which is what I signed up for, and what I had been told was the bargain basement price. What the hell, right? Me and the prosecutor haggling over my life. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah. Surreal.
Yeah, exactly.
So the prosecutor says, this is what I think you should do.
That's right. But the thing is, it's only a recommendation and it's still up to the judge to decide whether to take it up. So I thought worst case is more than 5. And what I expected was 5. And I was actually willing myself to look forward to going to jail because it would mean a new place. Because what I really hated was the lack of stimuli. There's just nothing in the cell. What do you talk about? You know, Francis, you and I, when we know each other's life stories back to front and we have been looking at each other for 3 years. What's new? Fucking nothing's new. What's the weather like? We don't know. It's Thursday. It's celery again for lunch.
Well, that's part of the punishment though, isn't it?
Yeah, the sameness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead you walk in.
I had been given a heads up prior to going in the courtroom when I was in the holding cell. But he only intimated, he said, you'll be satisfied with whatever that means. So I was already in a spin, and that's why.
So enigmatic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think you'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
And literally that could mean anything.
Exactly. If it's 5 years, I ought to be satisfied as well. And hope is a dangerous thing in a hopeless situation. So I didn't dare, or I tried to shut down the little hopeful voice.
So would you mind telling me what he said and how you felt?
Well, he rambled on. Yeah, all the painful bits I tend to just disregard and then just waited for the length.
How long?
And he said 2 years and 11 months. And because RSDL, the 6 months only count as 3 months. So that would mean that my sentence would end on the 7th of October, which when I was sentenced was 2 weeks before that. So it was just the best news of my life, really.
And then you're on a plane.
Well,
not
some
long
time.
after.
Yeah.
Going home.
Yeah.
To Alex and Ava.
I know. Like, I could not believe.
How long after that moment were you on that plane? I feel it was just a few days.
No,
it wasn't long.
It was 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're on the plane. How long, because I know you would know exactly how long.
Yeah.
How long since you had seen your children, including
almost
COVID?
4 years.
How old were they when you last said, okay, I'll see you back here? They were
8 and 10. Yeah, I could still hold them like that. And then when I saw Ava, she was already taller than me. And in all that time, I only saw them through some photos and had one phone call in all of that time.
That physical touch and the smell of them.
Yeah.
What a beautiful moment.
It was, I still look at that picture when I'm holding them and my face is just...
Yeah, a glow.
Oh, there's a lot of tears as well.
But it's alive.
Yeah. It was just so intense that I was home again and they were in my arms again.
What a time.
Yeah. And to see how my mum had almost withered.
You start your book with an acknowledgement and you talk about the people who are still left behind, the people who are still wrongfully incarcerated.
Yep.
And there are millions, or not millions, but hundreds of thousands around the world.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your life now. That is a big part of what you want to do.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about your work in that area and why it was important for you to not just go home and live your life, which no one would point fingers at if you were just like, I don't want to have anything to do with that. Just want to bring up my kids, do my work, put my face to the sun.
Yeah. Well, when I was incarcerated, I was always astounded that people were helping me, strangers, government officials, journalists. And when I was at my most helpless, they helped me and still do that today. So I've been given this precious gift of freedom, and not just freedom, but even when I was there, I think I was treated better because people showed that they cared for me, that they hadn't forgotten me. So I really want to be able to give that back, that gift back. whether it was writing to Irvin Gershkovich or writing columns about another reporter in China who's been sentenced to 7 years for essentially socializing with Japanese diplomats who the Chinese courts call spies, and working behind the scenes on people who are still incarcerated. Like last night, talking to the head of the journalists union in Hong Kong about how best to help a journalist who has disappeared, but her family doesn't want to publicize the issue.
For fear of making it worse, I'm presuming.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point you make, and I guess that's the whole original tenet of something like Amnesty International, that if there are eyes on you and people know there are eyes on you, it does make a difference.
It totally does.
And Lei, I have so many more questions, but unfortunately, I could talk to you for hours.
It's okay. I mean, if you
I think you're amazing.
Oh, please, no.
No, I really do. I saw your speech at News Limited. I was there that night at the awards.
Oh, cool.
And I remember thinking, whoa, what a woman. Everything you've gone through.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary in the true sense of the word. And it's a life that most of us will never know what has happened to you.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. What have you taken away from it in terms of what do you know for sure now about you, and what do you know for sure about the world? Because it seems to me that if I was to hazard a guess, if I was to ask you, do you think people are mostly good? I feel like you'd say yes.
Yes. And I think believing that and acting on that will make that even more true. I think when we doubt and when we act distrustful, then people can't always show their good side, or you don't see their good side.
To my first question, so I asked two very rapidly in a row.
That's
what
right.
do you know for certain about yourself now?
That I can go through many things. Okay, actually, I know for certain that I am kind and I love to help people and I love to create. So I'm going to find things to do that use all that.
One thing I know about you that your book taught me is that you really love egg congee, and that it can, something like that. There was that moment when you were looking forward to breakfast.
Exactly, yes.
And you thought, aha, I have not completely extinguished my spark.
Oh, yeah. I know for certain how much I love food.
It's quite a big feature in your book.
It is. Actually, I had a friend who said, why didn't you put in more about the, because the publishers wanted to move the story along, and I moved some of the food bits out, the making moonshine and all that.
Yes.
But my friend said, no, that's great. Put it back in.
I think that was a lovely part when you thought, you know what, I'm looking forward to that breakfast tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it gave you that. I can still have the ability to look forward to things.
Yeah.
And that was a bit of a moment for you.
Exactly. Because you can be just so immersed in feelings of pain that you forget. And to be honest, we're just animals.
Yeah.
There's sometimes
some basic needs.
Yeah. We can, if we fool our bodies, then we can train our minds as well.
I guess my last question to you, Lei, would be, I feel like it was the love of many people that kept you going, but I feel at its heart, and we sort of have come full circle, that it was really Ava and Alex, I think, that was your laser beam focus. Would you agree?
Yes. I think as a mum, you want to give, and it was quite difficult to conceive them, and what they taught me about love and about enjoying life, I mean, they really enriched my life. And I think parenting is the noblest thing you can do.
Agree.
The fact that we have all these social problems comes down to not enough good parents.
And kids who aren't getting the love.
Yeah. I was most worried that my being away would hurt their lives forever. And so when Ava wrote funny letters, or when my son wrote his very factual letters.
Yes. Typical boy.
with no adjective whatsoever. Yeah. It was such comfort to know that the village was helping to look after them. The other day we were in the city and walked past McDonald's. My son says, "Oh, you know, on an excursion, my teacher bought me McDonald's because she knew that, like, my mum has no wherewithal, right? She's got so much on her plate.
I understand.
So he didn't have money for Macca's. Just things like that.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Kindness. These little and big kindnesses. Yeah. And actually what I should have asked you, and I'm so sorry, is
that's right.
Has there been the lasting impact on your kids and or you of all of this? Like, have you had to negotiate that? Because you're gone for 4 years.
Yeah.
Becoming their mum again. You're always their mum.
Yeah.
But I should imagine there was a little bit of resetting to have that would have needed to have been done.
Definitely. And I'm still battling that now because I constantly want to make up for my absence, and then I doubt whether that is good for their growing up. My daughter had to go to boarding school, so she became very independent, and sometimes it feels like too much so. And how do I balance?
How do I get that time? Those many years we weren't there.
Yeah. So I work through that constantly. And
for you, like, what do you think has been the lasting impact? Are you different, Lei, from that woman who went to that meeting?
I think I'm a lot more aware of the different side of China, having experienced it. Even now, the fears people have, Chinese or otherwise, about China, even in our country, and how that's going to play out going forward. Should there be an invasion, that will be very challenging.
You can't go back, can you? But
no.
Would you?
Well, there's a 10-year, so can't even apply for a visa within 10 years. I think I wrote in the book, it's a bit like asking a domestic violence victim. Yeah. But only if I felt safe enough and if I felt welcome enough. And do you know that the China Police University just released their newest recruitment promotional video featuring me? And it's got all this tacky voiceover like, "Can you see through their disguises?" You know, wham, wham, like these slammed shots of me in the papers and the Canadian Michaels. And then there's like, do you know how traders will get their comeuppance? And then these shots of people sitting in the restraint chairs and whatnot. It's disgusting.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, basically still saying that we're spies, even though we're clearly victims of hostage diplomacy.
Well, it's a wonderful book, as I said at the start. I'm so glad you got to write it. I'm so glad you had just get it all out.
I was constantly interrupted by the kids. But my dilemma was, if I miss this time with them to write a book about freedom, then that's hypocritical, right? Yeah. So I had to do both. So sleep was the only thing that could go.
Oh, dear. Well, I'm so glad you're here. And thanks very much for talking with me.
Thank you.
That was my interview with Cheng Lei, and I'm really happy to say that since that interview was recorded, Cheng and her family are absolutely thriving back home in Australia. This is Frances Whiting's Humankind.